This week in Jamaica Now, missing. The search is still on for a 5-year-old Jamaican girl on the Mexico-US border. Split. Government ministers disagree on whether the police should negotiate with criminals. No bail.
If you're on murder charge, you cannot be at large. If you're on gun charge, you cannot be at large. The Bail Act will come shortly.
Government proposing tougher stances against accused murderers, but lawyers and the opposition warn of constitutional breaches. And strife and turmoil, Jamaica Football Federation rocked by another controversy. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. The search is still on for 5-year-old Malaisha Million Miller, who got separated from her mother at the United States-Mexico border on June 5. News came Wednesday that the young Jamaican was reunited with her mother, Teresa Wilson. Jamaica's Consul General to Miami, Oliver Mayer, had confirmed that Malaisha was with her mom, who was detained. He had spoken with representatives from the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. But hours later, it emerged that officials confused Malaisha with Miss Wilson's other daughter, an 8-month-old infant. Malaisha reportedly got separated as her mother sought to enter the U.S. through a human smuggling scheme that took the family through Panama and Mexico. The family lives in Waterhouse, St. Andrew. There has been a surge in travel between Jamaica and Mexico over the last year, but immigration authorities have been clamping down on locals. Additional social intervention is being considered for schools after the latest brawl between a teacher and a student at the Tivoli Gardens High School in Western Kingston on Monday. The 16-year-old boy has been charged with malicious destruction of property and assaulting a 56-year-old female teacher. A part of the incident, with the teacher appearing to pick up a desk to hit the student, was caught on video that has gone viral. Head of the Kingston Western Police, Senior Superintendent Michael Phipps, says the boy allegedly attacked the teacher after she asked him to leave a classroom. But the boy's mother has alleged that the teacher hit her son first. The police say they are going to improve their intervention to reduce the likelihood of similar events. Meanwhile, Education Minister Favour Williams has expressed concerns about videos being circulated on social media depicting students being very aggressive with each other to the point of starting fights, cursing or even smoking. She says the videos highlight the need for a radical shift in creating respectful relationships among parents, students and teachers. The government is facing strong criticisms over its proposal to deny bail to persons who are charged for murder or illegal possession of guns. Under the Jamaican Constitution, any person awaiting trial and detained in custody shall be entitled to bail on reasonable conditions unless sufficient cause is shown for keeping them in custody. But Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahou-Fort told Parliament this week that the government will be proposing a new bail act that critics believe will violate the Constitution.
If you're on murder charge, you cannot be at large. If you're on gun charge, you cannot be at large. The Bail Act will come shortly.
The opposition People's National Party says it is deeply disturbed by the government's plans, saying they run contrary to the principle of innocent until proven guilty. Spokesperson on Justice Donna Scott Motley says a new law which categorically removes the right to bail is likely to face a constitutional challenge and be struck down by the courts. And the Cornwall Bar Association, a group that represents lawyers, has condemned Mrs. Malahou-Fort's remarks. The association's president, Michael Hemmings, says the proposal is unconstitutional and a breach of a defendant's right to due legal process. There's an emerging divide in the Holness Administration over whether the police should negotiate with criminals to help address the country's crime problem. Last weekend, Homer Davis, a junior minister in the office of the Prime Minister, suggested that the police meet with gangsters given this year's 33% increase in murders in St. James, where he is a Member of Parliament. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says while he does not fully support Mr. Davis's view, a mechanism must be found to facilitate peace talks between rival gangsters. But National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang, who is also a St. James Member of Parliament, says that will not happen.
A number of people have said I don't negotiate with criminals. I cannot negotiate with killers. Killers will look for evidence, apprehend them and lock them up.
This is a government minister saying this from the office of the Prime Minister.
He does have a right to an opinion.
Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey has also sided with Dr. Chang. He says the government should not appease criminals and they should be taken through the court system. Jamaica has one of the highest murder rates in the world. Taxpayers are footing the bill for Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Kamina Johnson-Smith's bid for the post of Secretary General of the Commonwealth. Mrs. Johnson-Smith made the disclosure in a statement Monday, a day after queries were raised by analysts in a Sunday Gleaner story. She said her ministry is paying for her campaign travels, with other support coming from the Office of the Prime Minister. Mrs. Johnson-Smith said no other government is giving money. Political scientist Dr. Jermaine McAlpin and former Jamaican ambassador to the United Nations, Curtis Ward, say the government is accountable to the people of Jamaica and that Jamaicans have a right to know the details. Mrs. Johnson-Smith is seeking to unseat the incumbent, Baroness Patricia Scotland, in a move backed by powerful Commonwealth nations, including the United Kingdom and India. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown has hinted at a pact between Baroness Scotland and some African countries within the Commonwealth that he said could derail Johnson-Smith's challenge. He says Commonwealth members from Africa may coalesce on the completion of Baroness Scotland's second term by allowing her to complete the remaining 18 months. That would pave the way for Africa to take up its rotation as Secretary General. Leaders will decide on the top post when they meet from June 20 to 25 in Kigali, Rwanda. There will be no Jamaica Festival Song Competition to celebrate Jamaica's 60th anniversary of independence this year. Culture and Entertainment Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange told Parliament on Wednesday that entries for this year's competition were not deemed good enough.
We received 123 entries, much less than previous years. Under the circumstances, the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission will be refunding all entry fees in the amount of $123,000. And I have instructed the JCDC that they must ramp up the Jamaica Festival Song workshops over the next 12 months, now that the COVID restrictions have been lifted, to ensure that the competition returns next year with much improved entries.
Meanwhile, the Holness Administration has signalled that the journey to break ties with the British Monarchy and establish Jamaica as a republic will be completed by the next general elections due in 2025. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahou-Fort says Jamaicans would be called on to vote in a referendum as part of the final steps.
And these provisions, which include the provisions relating to our Parliament and the Queen as our head of state, these provisions are deeply entrenched, and we need the vote of the people. After the bill has gone through the House with the delay time, and the time supposedly is to be used for proper consideration, to inform the people, get them on board, explain in details to them what it is that they will be required to do, to have parliamentarians think long and hard about the next steps. We will have to go to the people. You know, Madam Speaker, I've been looking at Jamaica's attitude to referendum, because we will have to go there. We are going there, and we're going there hopefully by the time the next election comes around, unless more pressing matters or something else overtake. But that is the aim.
Strife and tumult gripped the Jamaica Football Federation this week, forcing the promise of a resignation from the organization's General Secretary Dalton Wind. But Mr. Wind has made it clear he wants to be paid his full contract up to 2023 before he hands in an official resignation letter. Mr. Wind has been blamed over the bungled arrangements for the senior Reggae Boys team to travel from Suriname back home for a crucial return match this week. It's reported that the Reggae Boys were not allowed to board a flight from Suriname on Sunday because they had not paid the requisite fees. The team reportedly wrote a letter to the Michael Ricketts-led JFF threatening that they would not take the field on Tuesday if Mr. Wind was not removed. Mr. Wind reportedly promised to give up the position at an emergency JFF board meeting on Monday. The Reggae Boys beat Suriname 3-1 in their match in the CONCACAF Nations League, a tournament being used as a qualifier for the 2023 Gold Cup. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notification and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, let's hear the story of how Desmond and Terry Howitt are desperately trying to get their two children to complete tertiary level education.
We didn't grow up here, but we come here to live and we have experience and see a lot of things going on. And I didn't want the same fate for my son.
What I'm trying to do is, create avenues to even make more money and invest. And I've been working and saving my money to, continue to pay for my studies to resume. It is extremely difficult seeing the standard of living and, I used to live in Kingston and worked, but it was extremely expensive seeing that I had to pay rent. And the pay wasn't all that good, but I still push through, and I always remember to pray.
So Shanae, she's my second child. She's 20 years old. She's currently attending the CMU, Caribbean Maritime University. They are currently online doing their studies. However, understanding that September coming, hopefully, they will be, they'll have to get somewhere in the Harbour View here a day or two to rent, because it's not going to be easy for her to travel from here, because it is really difficult. My dreams for them is to finish university, is to attain their goal, because I know that with the degree they'll be able to earn a better income in society, to be able to pursue their goals. My desire is for them to finish, to complete, because I didn't get that chance.